This is my video response to Together for Peace's questions on morality. Specifically, where does an individual such as myself, who is a strict scientific agnostic, not an atheist, but I figured I can answer your questions anyway, since I'm pretty close to denying the existence of a sentient watcher of the universe. Now, your first question is, where does moral code derive from? Or actually, in particular, you asked, where does my moral code come from? Well, the answer to that particular question is simply that I have my own moral code, which revolves around how I was taught to treat other individuals by my parents, and how I saw treatment of other individuals benefited me in certain ways if that treatment was conducive to those individuals, and that more often than not, when you treated other people well, good things happened to you or happened for you. And so as a consequence, it makes sense to treat other people in this way, to treat them as you would want to be treated. This is in fact a golden rule, which is a precept of many religions, religions actually predating monotheistic religions. But to continue on to answer the question more fully, what defines moral code in general? As far as science has been able to piece together, and I mean this as far as the results of various areas of science, biology, sociology, even mathematics has a part to play in the determination of what the scientist considers now to be a moral code. To a scientist, moral code and mutual cooperative altruism are essentially the same thing. When an individual in an environment in which resources are limited meets other individuals, they have a choice. They can choose to band together their experiences and their skills in order to ensure that they mutually can survive the environment, or they can waste their energy, fight one another first, determine who the winner is, and then have that one winner, with his reduced set of skills and experiences now, attempt to try to survive in the environment. It should be quite obvious that the first situation will be more conducive if that agreement could be come to by the individuals that meet one another. So morality, or the cooperative altruism that I mentioned earlier, really just arises naturally. It's the direction in which individuals competing for limited resources tend to go, because they have, at least in the human society, can have vastly different skill sets and experience levels, which can be extremely beneficial to the entire group for survival, as opposed to just the individual. So the other individuals in the group will refrain from killing their neighbors, because, well, there are advantages that their neighbors can confer upon themselves and as well the other group. So with the first answer that I gave you, which was my personal answer, you see that in the scientific understanding, there is a framework for understanding why I behave the way that I do in my own moral code, which is a personal moral code. So that should answer the first question. Now the second question is, how are your beliefs less prone to creating misery and conflict than Christian beliefs? Well, first of all, it's a bit of a loaded question, since it presupposes that I felt that my beliefs were less prone to creating misery and conflict than Christian beliefs. In particular, second of all, I want to say that my beliefs are simply what the evidence, the facts of experience lead me to believe. I do not impress my philosophy upon the world. I let the world's empirical data determine what my philosophy is going to be. And this is what I meant by calling myself a strict scientific agnostic at the beginning of the video. So with that said, I think it's definitely possible that people who are agnostic or atheists can do things which are just as evil and malicious as has been done by people who have been in Christian or Muslim or Jewish or pick your religion. But the main difference between the morality, which derives from what I mentioned as the cooperative altruism that we seek in the hope uh, of deriving success in any particular environment that we might find ourselves when we are in groups, uh, is that in my particular case, I do not discriminate an individual based on their religious or spiritual beliefs. So if in a certain environment I find myself uh, meeting other individuals, I will take their experience and their skill set at face value. I will not discount them because of the fact that they may believe something radically different from myself as far as a spiritual or religious belief. This is diametrically opposed to what many religious precepts hold, where there are specific rules of action and conduct that people from one religion should take towards individuals of another religion. So Jews have specific precepts against how they should deal with non-Jews, goyim. Muslims have specific precepts against how they should treat Christians or Jews in business or personal matters. Christians have their own rules of behavior, some of which derive directly from the Bible. Others have just been interpreted out of the Bible as a consequence of all or of all the various flavors of Christianity that have come into existence in the last 2,000 years or so. So that key difference is what I would say that an agnostic or an atheist has above a religious person. He will not discriminate against the skill sets or the experience levels of the individuals whom he meets, which will endow him with a greater ability by not discriminating to survive in the particular environment. So that should answer your second question. Thanks.